People of the internet, Tony Hinchcliffe got absolutely destroyed at the roast of Kevin Hart. And today we're going to look at some of the highlights about what people had to say about Tony. And we're going to do it right now.
I feel overdressed right now. Do y'all like my outfit? I found it in Tony Hinchcliffe's closet. Right next to Tony Hinchcliffe. Me and Tony actually have something in common. I played James Madison's crystal flute, and he played Donald Trump's skin flute.
You know what? One of the key themes of this roast, almost every single comedian, there were two key themes. Number one, Tony Hinchcliffe is gay. Number two, Tony Hinchcliffe is a racist. This was said by almost everybody that made fun of Tony. It was amazing. And what I think mostly this roast was for Tony, and I'm not saying he cares, and his fans certainly don't care, because I was looking at some of the comments from his fans, and people were just like, just to see their faces when insert this racist joke, insert this racist joke. But I think this was a reality check. Even if they don't want to acknowledge it, what are we saying here? They're not going to acknowledge it. Even though they won't, the entire place outside of Tony's fans and Shane's fans, some of them weren't laughing. There were death stares. The world hates the manosphere or the Rogansphere. The outside of their fans, everybody else hates them. Everybody else thinks they're racist. And guess what? You know what I like that? Because I was right all along. And all you people, it's a joke. It's a joke. Y'all can't take jokes. Y'all got to come on to my page and constantly insult me because y'all can't take jokes just like you want to put them out. But guess what? It don't even matter anymore because everybody thinks you're racist and disgusting.
Tony Hinchcliffe, what's up, man? Always flexing that he grew up in the hood. Well, yeah, that's what you were to a fucking cross burning.
Kevin, I'm going to circle back to you in a minute because I am really here on behalf of women in America and abroad.
Before she gets into her set, I've never really watched Chelsea Handler. The couple times, she's not my cup of tea. I really don't know much about her. I really just don't care, right? Not my cup of tea. I just move on with life and don't think about it. But I have to say, because I know there's a lot of people that hate her, and then there's a lot of people that love her. She's one of those polarizing figures. But I have to say, what you're going to watch Chelsea do to Tony Hinchcliffe right here, fucking spectacular. She ripped his nuts off. And Tony's response wasn't that good. He called her a bitch. In fact, Tony Hinchcliffe called every woman he spoke about a bitch, which proves my point again. And he went on race, but he just said her ovaries were frozen or dried up because she's a stone cold bitch and nobody's ever liked her, blah, blah, blah. Like that. It wasn't even that good. But what we're about to witness, and I'm not trying to get your expectations up, but if you know Tony, and if you would just like him to just every once in a while get a little bit of what he deserves, this is it right here.
To tonight's episode of To Catch a Predator. This is a real who's who of statutory rapists. We're all just lucky none of you could afford an island. Netflix assembled this panel of men to remind us that there are worse things than Louis C.K. jerking off in front of you. Congratulations, you guys. You did it. You helped sway the last election. Way to go. You should be proud, boys. Now that your favorite leader is making the draft mandatory, I assume that all of you will be signing up to go fight in Iran. Or do you tough-talking pussies only go to the Middle East for comedy festivals?
Holla at your boy. I like that one. Oh, man, that was good. That was good. It's true. It's true. You know what? Here's the thing, is I come on here day after day, and people, the fans all want to be like, no, you're crazy. You're just mean. You're just hating. And I'm not. I'm trying to speak to you guys and go, look, you look like absolute buffoons. Women don't like you. Women are appalled by you. Other people with more than 2 brain cells are appalled by you. Everybody looks at you and thinks you're giant loser men, incels, people that hate themselves so much that they turn into giant fucking losers, right? You hate on women. You hate on people's sexuality. You hate on race. And everybody said something about that tonight. I wasn't just here beating my drum to become the next YouTube content creator. If I wanted to do that, I would have did a faceless channel and followed the fucking formula, and nobody would have had an opinion. And those channels are so popular. That's the easy way. But I'm here trying to message, look, guys, you don't have to be here. You are on the wrong side of history. And when we look back in the history books, you're going to be the monster that everyone pointed the finger at. Just like when we were growing up, the monster was the Nazis because they acted the same way you're fucking acting right now. They just took it the full way, but you're on your way there. Everybody is pointing this out about you guys, and you just want to deny. It's like being in a relationship. You got that shit on footage. You got the text message. You got this for whatever little thing. And they're telling you it happened a different way and you're a liar. And they just constantly and never admit it. It don't matter. You're going to have to admit it. It's frustrating for us to see here and be like, look. But it's coming. It's coming. Realization is coming. You can't treat people like this. You can't. A theme of this whole show. Here's the thing about this show that really, really got me. I'm not just a fan because of roasts in general, because people really do get mean and personal. And like this started out with Tom Brady, and Tom Brady went off the rails. He talked about sleeping with Kevin Hart's wife. He was bringing up his affairs. I mean, it gets nasty, right? But this one seemed really nasty from the time, right? Like, the biggest theme of this whole thing was racism. Shane Gillis started it off. He was even saying early on, like, whoa, tough crowd. I do it for the people in the upper decks, the Rogansphere losers, right? I guess that's, if you want to put your name in history for that, okay. But that was the thing, just like the last time at the ESPN one when people didn't like Shane Gillis and all the fans got mad. It's the same situation all the time. Like, we're in a time where people are losing voting rights and racism is like at the forefront of our policy, of our leaders, of the things being executed. They're laced with racism and changing and putting progress back years and years and years and disenfranchising people. We're at a time like that, and the jokes are insane. I have one joke towards the end that I just couldn't believe you would even say this, but let's continue.
Tony Hinchcliffe is here. Tony is what happens when women don't have safe access to abortion care. Tony and Shane both live in Texas where abortion is illegal, but on the upside, if you see one of them doing comedy, there's a pretty good chance your uterus will start dry heaving on its own. Tony is a real guy's guy, or what's more commonly known as a bottom.
Holler at your boy. And here's another thing I want to talk about right here. Here's another thing. Notice that when everybody, even a few times during the show, when everybody mentions their comedy, it's fucking terrible. Everybody knows your comedy is terrible. One of the craziest things, right, is Big J Okerson was there. But the funny thing is the Rogansphere thinks there's these huge comments, but they're only huge inside their fans. And Joe Rogan's just like the figure, so everyone knows Joe Rogan. But most people don't know. But Big Joe Okerson, like everybody, the joke for Big J Okerson is, who the fuck is this guy? I thought you were bringing celebrities. Everybody that talked to Big J. Like you see, like nobody gives a shit about Rogansphere comedy except lonely men that have nothing going on in their lives. And this is like one of the biggest signs of proof because you have sports stars, you have all this, and they all said the things we've been saying for so long.
Tony, you have the face of a school shooter and the personality of someone who gets shot first.
You can see Tony is mad, and he does his set a little bit later after her, and he goes full in. This is a thing, like, even Shane Gillis, they all seem really angry and full of rage. Like, people were calling each other, "You're my bitches." And I get roast, but, like, you know, I'll say this. Pete Davidson was the one that stayed away from that. And he did some, I'm not saying it's like great comedy, but he did some jokes away from these themes. And the funny thing is what was so crazy about Pete Davidson, and he took it like a champ, man, is everybody made fun of his dad getting killed in 9/11. Like, what are these people trying to do? It's just like some things, like, you know, no matter how many years go by and stuff like that, it's like probably one of the top 3 sensitive subjects you could have in your life, right? And they just kept going in on him. They kept going in on him. And they were going in on Cheryl Underwood's husband a lot, too, because he committed suicide. I just, like, you know, a lot. Every time I watch the Rogansphere, the thing that always comes up for me is just a saying I learned, you know, I think everybody learned this as a kid, or at least as a teenager, is just because you can doesn't mean you should, right? And I was really surprised a lot by Shane Gillis because he just started the thing off of racist. And at one point he's like, what? Because the crowd was like, at least like the celebrities were looking at him like, right? And the upper decks, you know, the Kill Tony fans were like, oh, this is my wet dream. And they're just like fucking throwing bottles of water all over themselves, you know, trying to recreate Tony coming all over their faces. But he goes, what? They told me to be racist. And that was kind of questionable for me because I wonder if Netflix actually did that. That would be interesting. A video on its own. Are they understanding the racism in this country and now they're trying to provoke it? I don't know.
Kevin actually did really well in Saudi Arabia, but only because they thought he was the monkey from Aladdin. I know this dais is full of degenerate scumbags, and they're going to be up here saying a lot of racist, terrible things tonight. But, yeah, you guys like that? But not me. I'm not going to be doing that. I've got a nice PG short joke that I'd like you guys to be a part of, okay? Kevin is so short. Kevin's so short that they're going to have to lynch him from a bonsai tree. That was 3 weeks of deliberation on that joke. Look, I understand how serious the word lynch is, but bonsai is so funny. Anyway.
All right, before we get into Tony Hinchcliffe's set, we have to talk about that. And it goes back to the saying, just because you can doesn't make you should, or doesn't mean you should. And I think about that. I often wonder times, you know, I understand this in your 20s when you're going through your ego, you're wrestling with adulthood, or maybe you've had a phase in life where you just can't help yourself in, even though you know better, you just blurt these things out. And I think with like those jokes, and I think a lot of the theme of this could have been real funny. It could have gone and picked on the quirkiness of certain people. There's just so much quirkiness about these people. You could have made jokes. They have bad movies. They did do some of that stuff. But this theme just kept recurring. And I don't know if it's good for people, because I think a lot of times with jokes, people call them jokes, but there's a saying that jokes kind of reveal the truth of what you actually think. And I think this is going to put out, right, that it's okay to be like this, and it's just going to create more divide. The problem with jokes is you can have free speech. You could say these jokes. In fact, nobody stopped you. Our president seems to be leading the movement on white supremacy right now. But, you know, whole nother subject. But why? I read a comment, right? And I think I said it earlier that the person said just to see the look on their face when they said this about the lynching, when they said this about, you know, whatever, right? They said a lot of things. And it's just like, I thought, how pathetic are these Rogansphere fans? They're not even listening to these jokes because they like the style. They think the subject matter is funny. And then with the joke or whatever, the way they made it, they literally want to see the disgust, the hate, being upset that this joke puts on people's faces. They literally want to view your disgust towards this joke. They want to trigger you. They're fucking trolls. They're incels. It just proves it that this is what they're going for. They don't care about stand-up comedy. They just want to make you upset. And that's a sign of a dumb man. Thus, we have this new professional role that I've created called Dumb People Entertainers. That's Tony Hinchcliffe. And his fans are the dumb people. Just to clarify, in case you didn't get that.
More time for Shane Gillis. He looks like the type of slave owner that you can trick into buying Kevin Hart. He'll get bigger, right? If Kevin was a slave, his song would be, "Let my people grow." Chelsea is a Jew, that's why she's here. That's also the best thing about her. She once dated 50 Cent, not the first time a Jew bent over for 50 Cent. Cheryl Underwood, more like under a rock. Who even is this bitch? You look like a grape Laffy Taffy that went through the dryer. How have you been sitting next to me and playing drums the whole night? That hair, the purple, you look like your own pussy. She was on a show called The Talk for 13 years. If you never saw it, here's what you missed. No, hold up, let me let me talk. Her husband committed suicide 3 years into their marriage. I've been sitting next to her for 2 hours and I have to ask, how did he last that long?
You know, I mean, it's crazy that people are talking about such personal things. You know, I don't think I would have the ability to like go there with somebody and make fun of a traumatic situation like that. And you could find it funny, you could find it not funny. I just know how much those situations have changed those people's lives, how hurtful, how traumatic, how bad they've been for people, that no matter how I feel, I'm not saying how I feel about anything, but no matter how I feel about making a joke about that, I'm not going to do it just so I respect our friendship, right? It just seems, and get it, like, I think Tom Brady kicked it off. You should go watch it. I'm not saying it's good, but like, holy shit, he went out for revenge on Kevin Hart. I just think the whole like thing, the whole thing. I haven't watched the Cat Williams part because I don't know if I want to make something on that, so I saved that. I just went through and looked at a lot of the. Man, I think I watched 3/4. It was painful. I just couldn't take it. You know, people were just. It was off the rails, man. I just can't believe people are going there. Once you go there, it's going to be hard to go back. I'm telling you, I feel like this country's going to fucking burn down soon. There's so much tension in this country. Holy shit. I feel like the streets, like buildings, everything's just going to, I'm going to wake up one day and be like, holy shit.
He got into a fist fight on a private plane. Proof that no matter how much money black people have, they're still just going to act like ninjas. Always fighting. Like Bill Cosby, Hart is a black comedian from Philadelphia, and like Bill Cosby, women don't know when Kevin is inside of them. You've done good, though, Kevin. The black community is so proud of you. Right now, George Floyd is looking up at us all, laughing so hard that he can't breathe.
Just because you can doesn't mean you should. I just don't think this stuff is good. And people are going to say, well, listen to the crowd laugh. You know, people, I just think our country is so fucked. I really don't know the point of roast in the first place. You know, I think they always get too personal and like fucked up. You know, friends know things. Anyway.
Question for the day is, who has had more black dick in this town? Me or Chelsea Handler? The answer is Tony Hinchcliffe.
There it is. There it is. One thing you can learn from this roast today, folks, is the whole world thinks Tony Hinchcliffe sucks at comedy. They think he's a racist. They believe he sucks not only Trump's, but Joe Rogan's dick. And he's gay and in the closet. All of these things were identified frequently throughout this. Tony Hinchcliffe, like I said earlier, got made fun of for being in the closet, being a racist, and helping Trump. And Chelsea Handler mentioned the dick sucking that Tony Hinchcliffe does for Joe Rogan. I just want to say to y'all, here's the thing. Y'all ain't going to watch the video, nor do you care. The people that are going to come in the comments. I don't really care about you either, right? But you're going to say, here's what they're going to say, folks. Watch the comments. It's a joke. You're too sensitive. You don't know comedy. You're a soy boy leftist. Blah, blah, blah. You're not particularly right about any of this. But what we are right about is outside of your little cult, your little fan club called the Rogansphere. Outside of that, the whole world thinks you're fucking losers. Racist, womenless losers. Just like I've said this whole time, I have not been biased. I've not been trying to create drama that isn't there. I wasn't making things up. I didn't just pull these out of the bag of my political values and lean into the leftism that I'm not even a part of. I'm not political at all. I just think the world's fucked up and I got to talk about it. And you can do all that. The world hates you. And it's not too late to jump off the train. People are going to give you a lot of shit. People are going to do that. But it's a lot better than being remembered as a womanless Nazi incel in the history books. And maybe you don't even care about that because you don't seem to care about how fucking stupid you are now.